May of 2020 was the kind of year that most people love and storm chasers hate. The typical clockwork swarms of tornadoes that there would ordinarily be in the plains just kind of failed to materialize. And while there were a few storms to chase, the only thing I really got all that season was in Bowie, Texas. And aside from that, there wasn't much to chase. So on May 24th, I was in the Texas Panhandle. There were a couple storms that went up in the afternoon, but they were dusty storms. They produced a lot of gusty outflow winds that kicked up dust, but no tornado threats. Yeah, I saw some hail. Yeah, there are these little shafts of rain that came down, like this one right here. But it wasn't a super potent storm, but things kind of caught me by surprise. You see, that day, a couple storms merged. They bumped into each other, and they left this weird web of what we call outflow boundaries, the leading edge of cool air exhaust from storms, really reticulated across the landscape. So you had these different boundaries bumping into each other, kind of ebbing and flowing and having these weird collisions. And those eventually started to spin up what we call gustnadoes. And I had never seen any gustnadoes before. And here we had one after another after another. Here you see like a conga line of these rotating storms that are like miniature tornadoes. The difference, these things form from the ground up thanks to outflow wind exiting the thunderstorm. They're kind of cool. They're on the leading edge of that wind shift line. And the footage is kind of botched, kind of messed up. But it was amazing to see these self-contained whirlwinds of 70, 80 mile per hour winds, hurricane force, over such a short area from a really non-severe, non-supercell storm. And there was one that just posed perfectly with a distant lightning strike. It was probably 50 feet wide, and it was amazing. And one thing that struck me as weird, a couple of these were actually multi-vortex gustnadoes, meaning it was a larger whirlwind within which a couple smaller whirlwinds existed, which I had never seen in the context of a gustnado. It was remarkable. A few days prior, I had been in western Kansas near the Colorado border, and I got a land spout, meaning a little eddy near the ground that was vertically stretched into the updraft of a storm that produced a tornado, but it didn't compare to the tornadoes of 2019. This was one wild tornado I saw near McCook, Nebraska. You can see hail spattering nearby. It was a crazy event, but 2019 was a good year for tornadoes, 2020 not so much. But it was fortunate because few people died in 2020. It was a much better year, at least for May and into June. It was kind of a well-needed break for the weary. That said, there was still a lot of flash flooding that evening, a beautiful sunset as I was kind of in the Red Rock area of Texas, just absolutely gorgeous with anvil crawlers, beautiful lightning flashing across the sky. It goes to show you there's never a dull moment when you storm chase. The sky turns colors you wouldn't believe. It's something that is humbling and makes you appreciate just how much grandeur is in the sky above. And when you see these ripples of lightning all over the place, it's amazing. To see a gustnado was kind of cool, and no matter how dull a setup looks when you're storm chasing, Mother Nature always finds a way to surprise you.
Follow MyRadar on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Download MyRadar on iOS, Android, Amazon Alexa, Xbox, and Windows.